Beautiful people, welcome to Susan and Family Cooking TV from Susan and Family TV. So, how are you all doing? Hope you are doing great. As for me and my daughter, we are doing super great. By His grace, with good health and long life for my daughter and me. Amen. And we wish you the same. Amen. So, beautiful people, welcome to another educative, entertaining, inspiring, interesting video from Susan and Family Cooking TV from Susan and Family TV. I'm trying to let me look for places that if I need to come this way, if I need to come this way, I don't really want to be showing cars a lot, and I can see that it's too many cars. I don't know, I'm going to skip the cars. I don't know if I should put the video little upper to skip the cars, because I don't want you to really be showing the numbers of the cars, and a lot of cars are on the street. So how are we going to skip it? So let's move it over towards the houses. If it's going to work like this. So beautiful people, welcome to another educative video from Susan and Family Cooking TV from Susan and Family TV. So beautiful people, as you can see, I know you have already seen the title of today. So by His grace, good health and long life for my daughter and me, amen, we are bringing to you another educative, inspiring video, and we hope you are going to learn something, as you always do. And we hope that every videos my daughter and me we are bringing to you, you are learning something. And please, with your kids, try click on me and my daughter and mama game challenge TV. You and your kids are going to laugh it at. You are going to love all the videos my daughter and me we are bringing to you by His grace, amen. So beautiful people, we start wasting time, we are just going to continue with our topic of today. So today we are going to be talking about besties, because it's like it's like nobody's talking or care about besties. So the main reason why we are talking about doing the video of besties today is regarding to two YouTubers. There are two of, sometimes we have favorite YouTubers. There are a lot of YouTubers, that everybody loves. There are channels that everyone loves to follow. So these two YouTubers I'm about to talk about, there are two channels that me and my daughter will also watch their channels, to watch their video. But most of the time, my daughter, she's a child, so she don't always look most of the videos, but I do try my best to look their videos. But I think 2 years ago, when these two YouTubers we are about to talk about, when they were really doing videos together, me and my daughter, we don't miss the video, because my daughter always say, "Mommy, they are too funny, mommy, they are too funny." So anytime they have a new video, these two YouTubers we are about to talk about, anytime they have a video, my daughter always loves to watch it. So immediately the two YouTubers separated. So my daughter, she don't love to anytime say, "Oh, one of them have a video on YouTube," she say, "Oh, mama, hey, are they together doing it?" I will say no. She said, no, mommy, she's not interested. She always loved them to be together, that they are funny, they are behaving like kids, So so that is what we are going to be talking about today. So that is what is bringing to this topic of today, talking about besties. So as you have seen already in the title, the besties we are going to be talking about today, not only them, all besties, but we are just trying to talk about these two besties that we all YouTubers like us, our kids, and also maybe other family, they follow them. So the two besties are Mrs. Banter NJ. You will know Mrs. NJ. So Banter NJ is her channel on TV. Banter with NJ, I think something like, yeah, Banter with NJ or Banter NJ also is her channel. So I do call her Mrs. NJ. So when people are already married, whether they are young I'm senior to them, they are older than me. As long as I know that they are married, I always call them Mrs. So that is the respect. So I always call her Mrs. NJ. So and a friend also that they do YouTube together. She's Mrs. Sandra. Everybody knows Sandra Reality. Let's come this way. It's like it's going to be too busy over there. So Sandra, everybody knows Sandra Reality China. So she's Mrs. Sandra Reality. We are going to be talking about. She is also married. So beautiful people. If you are following these amazing two women, you will know what you are trying to talk about. That they are really besties. So these two amazing women, these two women, Banta, Mrs. NJ and Mrs. Sandra, they were like, I don't know how to put it. They were like, I don't know. When you mean besties, they are just like even more than besties. They were just like sisters, I think like 3 years ago, 2 years ago, but I think it's like going to like 2 years now. They no more do videos together. So beautiful people, that is what we are going to be talking about. What is like bringing besties together, and before you know it, besties go their separate ways. So even till now, till tomorrow, I and my daughter, we are still like contemplating, mommy, what really. My daughter always asks me anytime I put maybe Mrs. NJ video, like yeah, I think therefore yesterday I watched a video about her kitchen. She have a new kitchen set in a new house. She have a new kitchen, so it's very very beautiful, organized and all. I haven't commented for her. So I told my daughter, I said, oh, say Mrs. NJ, her kitchen is too beautiful. So my daughter looked at it and said, yes, very beautiful. So if maybe Mrs. Sandra was with Mrs. NJ in the video, my daughter would have want to sit with me from the beginning to the end. The reason is that not maybe because of she just want to watch them because they are mamas like me, they are adults. The truth is that Mrs. NJ and Mrs. Sandra, they are very funny. So because of these funny vibes about them, that is what my daughter always loved to watch. Like 2 years ago, anytime my daughter and me would put their channel from the beginning to the end, my daughter and me would laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. My daughter would say, mommy, they are behaving like babies. They are the way besties behave. Besties, when you are besties, is like you can talk to each other. You don't mind the kind of things you say, because you know that you are not going to offend your besties. Sometimes besties, they often behave like adult besties. Parents, mamas, besties, mamas like me, they often behave like babies, behave like kids, because why? That is what makes the besties. So that is what we are going to be talking about today. So it's like I'm just like, I think since last month. So I think there's a video I also watched a few days ago. I also watched a video of Mrs. NJ with her sister, Mrs. Nello. She's also a YouTuber, Mrs. Nello Keke, that she went to her house. So Mrs. Nello Keke was like showing her around their new house. So immediately I watched that video. So it just touched me and said, oh, I wish seeing this video now, I wish maybe Mrs. NJ and Mrs. Sandra can just like do video together like this again. So I started like thinking about it. I said, oh, should I like try to do a video about Mrs. NJ and Mrs. Sandra, if maybe they can be a family, or their husbands or YouTubers or friends can like do something to bring them back, because when you are seeing like two people together, and that these two people, they really like it's like they really like understand themselves very good, so by the time you see that you are no more like seeing them together, you begin to like, what is happening? A little misunderstanding can just like separate besties. So we like, everybody's like me and my daughter, we are waiting. One day we are going to see Mrs. NJ, Mrs. Sandra together with their funny vibes video again. We are waiting. It's more than a year. So beautiful people, comment below if you also notice that Mrs. Sandra and Mrs. NJ, that they stop their YouTube vibes funny videos they are giving to us on YouTube more than a year now. So if you also notice it, we are going to be waiting for your comments. So if you are also among me and my daughter who want Mrs. NJ and Mrs. Sandra reality to come back to YouTube, making together because they are still on their YouTube, but we want to like see Mrs. NJ and Mrs. Sandra together on YouTube together, just the way they were before, those funny vibes, because there's something particular about them. Anytime we put on their channel, it's like, I don't know how to put it. If maybe you've not seen this YouTubers we are talking about, if it's your first time you are coming across this name and you saw it on their names on our channel, I'm going to try to put their name, Mrs. NJ and Mrs. Sandra Reality. And if you have not seen them and you think that why is it that I'm like too much talking about these two women, these two YouTubers, try and click to their videos that they did. I think last 2 years going. I think last 3 years, last 2 years. Try and click to their videos. Try and click to their YouTube channel. You are going to laugh it out because they always make my daughter and me laugh. It is laugh. I don't know how to put it. There's something about them. Sometimes they like you see them like they are like quarreling. Their quarreling is not the kind of quarrel that is like requarrel. It's just like maybe just like they are forming to like make a quarrel and they are not quarreling. You will see them sometimes they will hold only one. If it's one food, they will be fighting. If it's one plate of food, they will hold it. These are adults, That is what my daughter said. Mama, I really love Mrs. Angel, Mrs. Sandra because they behave like baby. You will see them holding one food. You will see Mrs. Sandra and Mrs. and Mrs. NJ. They will be holding one food, and that food they are holding, they'll be fighting for the food. Only one plate of food. They'll be rushing it. Give me. It's my own. Are you the one that make the food? Isn't it? So there are kind of things that not only, there are different kind of things that people love to see on YouTube, because for me and my daughter, there are a lot of things we follow on YouTube, and I also love to follow videos like Mrs. NJ and Miss Sandra, their funny vibes together. I always love to. I don't even love to mix. Me and my daughter, we don't miss their video at all, So since they stop doing videos together, that was when my daughter and me, we stopped watching their channel also. It's like, I think for Mrs. NJ, we started watching her channel again this year, and for Mrs. Sandra, I think we watch her channel, I think once in 6 months or so, just because why they separated. So you can really see that when Bestie separate, if maybe they were like something they were doing together, is going to like break that thing they were doing together. If maybe that thing they were doing together was like bringing up to like 100% to them as besties, and we all and our kids already like know them as besties, and we are enjoying those things they are doing together. Once they separate, when the besties separate, you see that thing that was like bringing to them 100% will go down to like 60%, so even when they like still have views, but it's just going to be maybe other things, but nothing like this kind of vibe that even up there's nothing they don't fight for. Nothing. They can hold the fruit, they start fighting for the fruit. You ate it, okay, give me the remaining one, I have to eat it. So all those kind of things are really what me and my daughter would love to see on YouTube. So funny vibes, a lot of things, there are different kind of things everybody wants to see. So beautiful people, amazing mamas like me out there. If you are a YouTuber in Nigeria, if there is something you can do, if you live in the city where Mrs. NJ and Mrs. Sandra live, if you can like do something to bring them together, if it's the husbands, Mrs. Sandra husband and Mrs. Sandra, if it's a husband of Mrs. NJ husband, if they can bring these two amazing vibes and women together, because really their videos on YouTube really bring a lot of funny vibes that even if you have something thinking, once you put Mrs. Sandra and Mrs. NJ their video on, you must laugh. You must laugh it out, just like the way I and my daughter, we are doing our best in Daughter and Mama Game Challenge TV. We do our best that from the beginning to the end. Once you click me and my daughter channel, from the beginning to the end, from me and my daughter channel, Daughter and Mama Game Challenge TV, from the beginning to the end, you are going to be laughing all through. So that is how Mrs. NJ and Mrs. Sandra, they are also doing their best. So their videos together really has a lot of funny vibes. So because till now, I don't even think maybe I've seen YouTubers together like that who have like funny vibes, like to make you laugh all through the video. So please, dear YouTubers in Nigeria, dear YouTubers closer to Mrs. NJ and Mrs. Sandra Reality, dear family closer to Mrs. Sandra, Mrs. NJ, if there's something you can do to like bring these besties together, please do bring them. It can be that it's just a little misunderstanding. No one is perfect, no home is perfect. So if they like have a little misunderstanding, at least it's like already too long, more than a year, unless if maybe they vowed, maybe Mrs. Sandra vowed and Mrs. NJ vowed that they can never come together anymore. That is the only thing that maybe there's nothing anybody can do. But if they didn't make a vow, that they just like had a little misunderstanding and they separated, please, dear YouTubers close to Mrs. NJ and Mrs. Sandra, do your best this year to bring them back. Please, we want to see Mrs. NJ, we want to see Mrs. Sandra Reality with their funny vibes again. Let them just like surprise us that one day we and our kids and my daughter, we just want to put on YouTube, then the next thing we see Mrs. Sandra and Mrs. NJ back again, so there are funny vibes. We are missing it. So please do, YouTubers, dear YouTubers in Nigeria, closer to them, families closer to them, friends closer to Mrs. NJ, Mrs. Sandra, please do something to bring them back. So we are also going to be talking about things related to besties, about besties. How can you keep besties? Can besties be real or fake? Can besties last forever? So we are going to talk about that for some few minutes. So number one says, are there true besties? Are there true besties? That is number one. To me, beautiful people, comment below, have your own opinion. What do you think about what you are talking about? Do you think they are true besties? Do you think besties are real? Do you think they are not true besties? So to me, on my own opinion, as a mama, what I've been experiencing in life, so I'm just going to share with you. If you agree with me, give a thumbs up. But if you like, everybody have his own opinion. If you have other opinion also, I would love to also see your opinion. Try and add your opinion. And add your comments. People are cleaning the street. Let me know video, then let's come this way. Try and add your opinion. Try and add your own comment. Also, we'll be waiting for you as you'll be learning from us. We also want to learn from you. So number one says, are there true besties? So to me, beautiful people, they are true besties. That is true. They are true besties. The truth is that to come across a true bestie is very difficult. You can we can have a lot of friends, just friends, but not to call them besties, for you to call a friend, this is my bestie. It means that there is something very particular and different about that your bestie to other of your friends that you have been making, that made you to choose this bestie out of all your friends and say this is your bestie. So the truth is that they are still besties, they are still true besties. But the truth is that some people are not lucky to have besties. Some people are not lucky in friendship. For me also, I'm not the type of mama that I'm too lucky in friendship. I think I have the luck of good real friends that I can really pick one to call them besties. When my daughter and me were in Italy, because all my friends in Italy, they were amazing friends. If maybe any of my friend was bad. I think it was only one that did something that, if I even say it in the YouTube, that people would like, it's not really good. That cannot be your friend, But we don't need to talk about that. But every other my friends in Italy, as big as Italy, before my daughter and me, we come to Belgium, all were like, they were like sisters to me. I will not lie to you. They were like sisters to me, But every country have different and people living in it. But here in Belgium, it's difficult for me to like, this is my friend. I know I've like come across so many friends, but not like the kind of particular friends that I really like trust in Italy. I've not like come across particular friends that I really dog is here. You see, I'm not afraid of dog. But the other day I was doing a video, I saw a cat. I was scared. And dog now is even bigger, but I'm not afraid. So I and my daughter, we love dogs and puppy a lot. But for cats, we are not friends at all. So beautiful people, we need to continue. So the truth is that all countries and have different kind of and human living in them, and different kind of characters in everyone. So here in Belgium, I cannot say I have even one particular person to say that this is my real friend. No, I cannot say that, but I know that I do have hello friend. But like years ago, I was like having some friends, but when some people get married and all, characters will change and all, so you cannot force them that they must continue to be your friend. So apart from that, any friends I see now, I just say, oh, I can't even call them my friend. They are just like hello, we see each other, we greet each other. So the truth is that they are still true besties. So there are a lot of people who are like their friend from their nursery school. I see their friend, like my daughter, she have friend from her nursery school that are still a friend in Snapchat. My daughter have friends that are she knows from her primary school that are still a friend with her. They still communicate, they still call and chat with each other. My daughter have friends from as she started at secondary school last year. They are still friends and they'll continue to be friends. So out of all those friends that my daughter already, she still have contact with them since from her nursery school. She can like have one and say, oh, mommy, I've like learned a lot of all my friends. I know all my friends, their character. I want to make one my bestie. So that is how besties come across. When you are like you have like know a lot of your friends and the kind of characters, and the one that you really know that you can call your true bestie. So to me, I believe that they are still true bestie if you are the type that have luck with friends. So two says, can besties be besties for long? The truth is that two says besties, can besties be besties for long? The truth is that besties can be besties for long, depends on the kind of people involved. Like two friends who are besties, they can like be besties for long, and even their best being besties can even like turn to like they start to call themselves sisters. So to me, I believe that besties can be besties for long and even forever. So if you think that is truth, comment below, because for me, when you call someone your bestie, before you call someone your bestie, it's like you have already like concluded that this person is like a sister to you. And when you have a sister, it's like it's difficult for you to like stay away from your sister. So besties like someone who is very very like close to you before you call that person a bestie. So to me, I believe that besties can be besties for long, and I believe that besties can be besties forever. So it depends on the kind of friendship they both have as besties. So 3 says, when besties go separate ways, can they come back as still besties? That is true. When besties have maybe misunderstanding, just like Mrs. NJ and Mrs. Banta and Mrs. NJ and Mrs. Sandra we are talking about. So to me, when besties have go separate ways, when they come back, I believe they can still be besties. If really they were true besties at the beginning, there are different kind of besties. There are real besties and there are fake besties. If really these besties, they were really like good, real best friends from the beginning. So if they go separate ways, maybe they have misunderstanding. Let's give example of Mrs. NJ and Mrs. Sandra. Now that like they don't communicate, maybe they communicate out of YouTube, maybe out of social media. They don't want to show it, or maybe they don't want people to come between them again. So if maybe they come together again, or they have already been together again, they don't want to be like show it on social media. If they were true besties before, they can still be besties just the way they were before they separated. So to me, I believe when besties go separate ways, they can still come back as besties just the way they were before they went separate ways. So first says, how can besties avoid quarrels? That is true. Besties can avoid quarrels because before you call someone your bestie, you already know the kind of thing that offends your best friend, each other. You already know what offends the other person, and the other person already know what offends a bestie. So these two friends, they already know how to like avoid those kind of things that will not make a bestie to be angry. If you know that when you do this to your bestie will not like it. Your bestie is going to be hungry. You will not love to do those things. Just like we mamas, when we do things that we know that our children don't love, so we will not love to do those things. It's just the same thing, because like me, I always say my daughter is like my best friend. She's my everything. So that is how we parents will call our children, or our kids, our everything. And for women also have husband, some will say, oh, their husband is their best friend. So just like that, as we parents say our kids, my daughter is my best friend, she's my daughter, she's my best friend. I tell her everything, she tells me everything. So that is our bestie. Also how can besties avoid quarrels? So when besties like they know what offends each other, they will not love to do those things to avoid quarrel, so that it will not like lead to them their separate ways. So 5 says, is it good for besties to have to be more than two? That is true. The truth is that, is it good for besties to be more than two? When you say best friend, to me, I believe best friend is between two people. I don't know if maybe people can like have besties up to like 5 besties together, but to me, I believe the best friend is just a friend, just one person. So that one person making the other person makes two. So when besties are more than two, anything can happen, because why? It's only in two. Just like me and my daughter, we understand ourselves, we do things together, so mama and daughter vibes, we understand ourselves, we know what she knows, what I don't like, I know what my daughter don't like. Just like besties also, so by the time two besties decide to like, okay, one will say, I have a new friend, let's try to introduce this our new friend to make us not 3 besties. That is when the misunderstanding will start coming. Before you know it, these 2 besties that really understand and love themselves, stand for themselves, keep them secret, everything. Once they have the 3rd bestie, they say the 3rd party. Once you have the 3rd party in between 2 people, there